It was a beautiful day. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, I was touching grass. Nothing bad could happen on a day like this. Little did I know that my life was about to change forever. Okay, that might have been a little dramatic, but I was out thrifting a few weeks ago at my local thrift shops, and I was just minding my own business, and when this guy walks up to me. Long story short, he wanted me to become a seller of Amway products with him, commonly referred to as an IBO. After I got back home, I did some research, and this was one of the biggest rabbit holes I've ever been down. So join me as we take a deep dive into Amway. American Way Association was founded by J. Van Andel and Richard DeVos in 1959, which later changed to Amway Sales Corporation. For context, here's some other things that happened in 1959. Barbie was launched in the US, a gallon of gas was 25 cents, and the US sent a monkey named Miss Baker to space and successfully recovered her, making her the first living creature to have gone to space and come back alive. Now, I thought that was a pretty cool fact until I saw this picture, which just made me really sad. But Miss Baker did get a nicer grave than I'll ever even dream of getting, so you win some, you lose some, I guess. Anyways, Andel and DeVos got their introduction to multi-level marketing in 1949. They got signed on with a company called Nutrilite, which was popular at the time, and they quickly began to rise up in the ranks of the company. Before long, they'd built up a network of 5,000 people, all distributing under them. It was with this huge success that they split off with some of their top distributors and formed Amway. One of the first moves that Amway made as a company was to buy a cleaner called Frisk, later named LOC, and this definitely had a domino effect. Now remember, Amway was founded in 1959. By 1962, they had already opened their first international office in Canada, and then in 1967, they hit 50 million sales in 1 year. At this point they're only 8 years into the business. Then jump ahead to 1972. They bought a controlling interest in Nutrilite. Imagine going back to one of the places you worked as a teenager. I worked at Little Caesars. I walk into Little Caesars and I'm just like, hey guys, I own this place now. You work for me. Like, what a power move. Around that time, public perception of multi-level marketing companies started to go down heavily, but in 1979, the Federal Trade Commission ruled that Amway was in fact not a pyramid scheme. We'll get into that more a little bit later. Now, so far, on paper, this has been an extraordinary company. The numbers they've hit, it sounds too good to be true. Then in 2012, Harvard School of Business states, Amway is one of the most profitable direct selling companies in the world. Last jump, 2014, Amway's revenue was $11.8 billion. Now that we understand where this business came from, we can begin to understand the business model. Remember that phrase IBO from earlier? That stands for Independent Business Owner. Amway is essentially a manufacturer of products, and they get their distributors, or IBOs, to sell those products. A core part of any IBO's business is their downline. A downline is all the people that you yourself recruited into the Amway business underneath you. Here's Amway's official business overview. Most of this is irrelevant information to what we need to do today, but there are some nuggets of gold in here. As you can see, there's 3 steps to success. This is you. Notice the sponsor circle connected to yours? That's the IBO that recruited you into Amway. So once you get recruited, you start step 1. And step 1 is finding customers. So far, so good. Sounds like a legit business. Step 2 is, as they like to call it, helping people or recruiting people. Step 3, even better than step 2, because you get to get the people that you helped, now you get to help them help other people. Your recruits find new recruits, and that's how you get to throw your feet up on some cruise in the Caribbean sipping orange juice for the rest of your life. But wait, if you take this and move it over here, and then this and put it over here, and finally this guy and move him here, oh my gosh, we found ourselves a pyramid. Now, legally, Amway is not a pyramid scheme. What constitutes a pyramid scheme is when you are paid cash or some incentive to refer more people into the business. Oftentimes, this is more than you earn by selling the actual product, whatever that product may be. When you refer someone in Amway, they become part of your downline. As they sell product, you get a piece of that. You don't get any money for actually recruiting them. And while it's obviously the best strat to get into Amway and just start recruiting people, it's not a pyramid scheme because you don't actually get a bonus for each new referral. Now you can turn it into the semblance of a real business, but very few people actually are going to end up doing that. The real successful ones are the ones with the biggest downlines. The culture of MLMs are unlike any other. They prey on people with tight family values, telling them that they'll have enough time to spend with their kids as they're growing up, that they'll be able to go to their soccer games and take control of their precious time that they have on this earth. But the real statistic is about 1 in 1,000 IBOs make enough to support themselves. And the majority of the other 999 IBOs are losing money. They're not even breaking even. Now, I have no issue with a business that has a very low chance of success. Just look at my YouTube channel. Me and my brother have been posting almost every week, and at times 4 times a week for the past 8 months. We've both dumped hundreds of hours into this channel, and we've made, let's just say, less than $0. With all the equipment, time we've spent, we've definitely lost money on this venture so far. But that's because we have a dream. We want to make this career work for ourselves so it can open up doors in the future. And we're willing to invest in that. It literally took us 8 months to get one breakout video. And by the way, thank you to whoever's still here from watching that video. Watching the views go up on that was insane. As of recording this, we just hit 1,000 watch hours, which is 1/4 of what we need to get monetized. Now we're doing it smartly. We're not dumping all of our time, all of our money into it. But in Amway, when an IBO starts checking you out to see if you're a good enough business partner, they tell you how lucky you are that you've been given this chance to mingle with people far more successful with you, and how their time is just so precious and you're going to have to work to earn it. You're told when you join Amway that people are going to doubt you. Your family may judge you, but just know that you have a community of people that support you. And no matter what other people think, if you surround yourself with the people that have the results that you need, then you will get those results. And like, to somewhat, I'd agree, like, find your community, get in those group chats, get in those groups. But the moment that they're saying, oh, your family's not going to get it, they're going to call you dumb, it's just a little off-putting when they're so family-centric, and yet the second any family stands in the way, they're like, push them aside. They clearly don't care about you. Here's a personal account I found on Reddit. My parents spent 28 years in a pyramid scheme, Amway, which uses cult-like tactics to convince people to devote all of their time and energy into building the business. When they finally left, my family was excommunicated by all close family friends. My parents were double diamonds and public speakers. He and my mom would travel the country, preaching the message, quit your 9 to 5, sell the products, and be your own boss. Go to the functions and events. Tell all of your family and friends, if they don't buy your products, they don't support you. Only associate with winners. Amway is a pyramid scheme, but that's not what makes it a cult. IBOs are expected to listen unquestioningly to their upline. If people aren't climbing the ranks, they will be written off as not working hard enough or being losers. If your friends' family don't buy your products, they don't support you, and you should not associate with them anymore. He told me that the people were starving and he couldn't preach a message of salvation anymore when it just wasn't working. He gave his business to his upline and left. All of our family friends stopped talking to us, including the family that my dad gave his business to. My parents were defiled amongst the Amway community for leaving, and were cut off by 95% of their friends immediately after they left. Don't waste your life working for an MLM. You will have nothing to show for it when they're done with you, no matter how revered you are in the community. Now, this message has been echoed by all the accounts I've read, even my own brief exchanges with the guy who tried to recruit me. This was the vibe that I got. As I was talking to this guy, we met up about 5 times, so let's kind of go over what happened. If you want the full details of what went down, that will be a full video coming out soon, so get subscribed to get notified. But let's have a quick overview of some of the things that stood out the most. The first 2 times we met up, the whole time we were just getting to know each other. He was literally writing down notes about what I said. Like, if he would ask me, oh, like, why do you want to be successful? And I'd be like, oh, I want to spend time with my family, or, whatever. He would write that down, be like, family oriented. My roommate actually came with me, and so he had 2 columns for each of us. And I was trying to like read upside down at one time. He point quiet on mine and loud on my roommates. So that was a little weird. After each meeting, he would give us homework. This included things like doing research on the company, reading a book, making a list of people we wanted to recruit into the business. It was insane. And until the 3rd meeting, he only referred to his Amway business as an online e-commerce website. And he referred to his buddies or his partners in crime as the association. He did not drop the word Amway or anything, multi-level marketing, not at all, until the third meeting. So like the whole time we were just kept in the dark and been like, yeah, you'll get around these great people, you'll start a business, you'll be successful. But we were just like, okay, so what are we doing here? Like, what's the business? And he just like would not talk about it. The third meeting, we got invited to one of those classic Amway meetings where you go into someone's house and a higher up representative of the company comes and talks to you and answers some questions. Unfortunately, there wasn't one in town, so we zoomed into one that I got some interesting footage, but that will be mostly covered in the other videos. The fourth meeting, we met up and we Zoom called one of his higher ups, and it was super awkward because when he got on the line, the guy who was recruiting us, let's call him Gerald was like, hey, do you want to lead the meeting from here? And the other guy, let's call him Steve was like, well, normally when I'm in a meeting with my superiors, I generally let them take the lead. And that was followed by like 10 seconds of silence, and me and Brady just like looked at each other. We were like and so he was like, okay, sounds good. He kind of took over and talked about how Amway is so amazing and how it's been so great for his wife and his relationship with his wife. He was just pitching it hard. After the meeting, I had a list of questions I wanted answered, so I wrote them down and I said, hey, let's meet up again. I've got some questions I want to go over with you. And he was like, hey, yeah, that's great. Can you send them over to me so I can prepare for answers? And I was like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. I sent him over and he was like, great questions, can't wait to get those answered, let's meet up at this time. I was like, hey, sick. We met up and he dodged every single question I put towards him except for one, and that's only because I pushed him hard. The question that I got answered was, down the line when I built this successful business and I want to either like give it to my kids or sell it, like what are the options there? What's my exit strategy? After trying to sidestep the question, I kind of asked again in a different way, and he said that you are able to transfer the business to your family or kid, whoever's interested, but they already have to be a successful business owner, IBO, inside of Amway already. There's like a certain like level system where you have to be to receive someone else's downline. And get this, the reason this rule is in place is because no one just deserves to be handed a business. They have to earn it. That's what Amway believes in. And so if I built up my business and my kid that I wanted to give my business to, he's, a loser or whatever, he shouldn't be able to receive that business, according to Amway. Even though it's my business and I should be able to do with it what I want because I've built it up over the years, Amway says no, sorry, your kid has to be already a successful Amway IBO already, or else they get nothing. And here's the main issue I have with Amway. When you're building a business, you're putting time and money into it. Same with the Amway IBO business. But here's the kicker. You are getting value back, and not just in the form of cash, but your business is retaining value. So later you can sell it. Later you can give it to your kid. They can continue running it. Most importantly, I get to choose what to do with it. I can burn the business down. I can grow it to a corporation with 1 million employees, whatever I want to do and have the capability to do. But if your kids aren't in Amway, they deem them uneligible to run your business, which is just insane to me. You're not building a business. Amway is all about start your own business, free up your time, be your own boss. But your business actually belongs to us. Your customers are ours. You are simply the middleman, and we don't care about you. We take complete control over your downline if you want to step out, unless you give it to someone else in Amway. I just can't believe that's how that works, and how so many people are, I don't know if they're tricked or they just don't care, because when I'm thinking about building a business, it's not only the cash that's being paid to me, but also the value of the business, that it will continue to be profitable for either generations or I can sell it for a lump sum at the end. But that's just not how it works. And I don't understand how they get so many people being like, I'm my own boss and I make my own schedule. For now, until Amway decides you can't anymore. And that is the business of Amway. Of course, there were some things I couldn't fit in the video, like history stuff, but if you're interested in a deeper dive into the specific history of Amway, that could be a good video that I would like to make. So let me know in the comments below, and always thank you so much for watching.